Imagine going to bed on a Friday night expecting the weekend. You wake up the next morning, but it isn't Saturday, it's Friday again, and the date isn't October 7th, it's October 18th. You haven't traveled through time, you just lived through the sale of Alaska. In 1867, when the territory transferred from Russia to the USA, they had to switch calendars and shift the international dateline. The result? Alaska had 2 Fridays in a row and skipped 11 days of history. We tend to think of the new year as a fixed moment. The ball drops, we sing a song, and the number changes for everyone. But that is an illusion. Right now, in Ethiopia, it's technically the year 2018. In Bali, the new year isn't a party, it's a legally enforced lockdown. And in 1712, Sweden actually had a February 30th. This is Curiotrads. Today, we are breaking the clock to find out why humanity can't agree on when the year starts. To understand the chaos, we have to look at the sky. Ancient humans had 2 main clocks, the sun and the moon, and they do not get along. If you're a farmer, you follow the sun. You need the solar year, 365 days, to know when to plant your crops so the seasons stay put. But if you're a nomad or a priest, you follow the moon. It's easier to read, but a lunar year, 12 cycles of the moon, is only about 354 days. Do the math. 365 minus 354 leaves an 11-day gap. This is the villain of our story. If you ignore it, your calendar drifts. This is why the Islamic Hijri calendar, which is purely lunar, moves backward every year. A holiday like Ramadan can happen in the burning heat of summer one year and in the freezing winter 16 years later. It ignores the sun to keep the moon cycle perfect. To fix this, most cultures, like the Chinese, Hebrew, and Hindu systems, created lunisolar calendars. They mix the two. They use lunar months, but every few years they insert a leap month, a 13th month, to push the year back in line with the sun. It's basically astronomical duct tape. So why does the modern world start on January 1st? Blame the Romans. Originally, their year started in March. That's why September, October, November, and December have the Latin roots for 7, 8, 9, and 10. They used to be the 7th through 10th months. They eventually shifted to January to honor Janus, the god of beginnings, but their math was sloppy. By 1582, the calendar was 10 days out of sync with the sun. Pope Gregory XIII fixed it by creating the Gregorian calendar, the one we use today, but to make it work, he had to delete 10 days from history. Catholic countries switched immediately. Protestant countries like Great Britain were suspicious. They waited nearly 200 years. When they finally switched in 1752, they had to delete 11 days. But the award for most confusing transition goes to Sweden. In the early 1700s, they tried to switch gradually by skipping leap years, but they forgot. They skipped one, then forgot the next 2 because of a war. By 1712, their calendar was a disaster. To fix it, they had to add a double leap day. So for one time in history, Sweden had a February 30th. If you were born that day, you technically don't exist. While the West was fighting math, the East was fighting monsters. The Chinese New Year is determined by the new moon near the winter solstice. Legend says a beast called Nyan would eat people on New Year's Eve. Villagers discovered Nyan was terrified of loud noises and the color red. That's why today billions of people light fireworks and wear red. It's not just a party, it's a monster repellent. In Bali, Indonesia, they do the exact opposite. Their new year, Nyepi, is the day of silence. For 24 hours, the island shuts down. No fires, no work, no travel. Even the international airport closes. The belief is that by staying silent and dark, evil spirits flying overhead will think the island is abandoned and leave them alone for another year. In Thailand, the New Year Songkran happens in April. This marks the moment the sun enters the constellation Aries. Since April is the hottest month there, the tradition evolved from washing Buddha statues into the world's biggest water fight. It's a spiritual cleansing turned into a nationwide super soaker battle. And for the Maori in New Zealand, the New Year Matariki isn't about the sun or the moon, it's about the stars. When the Pleiades star cluster rises in midwinter, June or July, it signals the new year. If the stars are bright, it predicts a good harvest. If they're hazy, it warns of a cold winter. If you feel like you've wasted the last few years, just move to Ethiopia. They use a calendar derived from the ancient Coptic system. They have 13 months, 12 months of 30 days, and a tiny 13th month called Pagum that is only 5 or 6 days long. Because of how they calculate the birth of Christ, they're 7 to 8 years behind the Gregorian calendar. It's literally 2018 there right now. But the scariest new year isn't in the past, it's in the future. Many of our computer systems count time as the number of seconds since January 1st, 1970. They store this number in a 32-bit digital container. On January 19th, 2038, at exactly 03:14:07 a.m., that container will run out of space. If not fixed, computers around the world will flip from 2038 back to 1901. It's called the year 2038 problem, and it's the sequel to the Y2K bug. So why do we celebrate on different dates? Because a calendar isn't just a way to count days, it's a map of what a culture values. Some value the harvest, some value the moon, some value the stars, and some value what a pope said 500 years ago. However and whenever you celebrate, Happy New Year! If you enjoyed this trip through time, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That's one timeline you don't want to miss. This is Curiotrads. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious.